What's up, everybody? In this video, I'm going to focus on Funko Pops that I hope to see in the year 2020. I did a video like this to kick off the year 2019, and luckily some of the pops that I was hoping to see actually did get produced by Funko. I'm definitely grateful for that. That's pretty awesome, including that Cosmic Ghost Rider. That was one of the main ones I wanted to see. So maybe this will happen again. Maybe some of the things that I'm hoping to see actually will pan out. That would be pretty awesome to get some of these into my collection. Now, I want to be clear up front, I'm not going to cover figures that I think are already on the way. There are some rumored lists going around, some things that are showing up in store systems, and yeah, I'm just going to be patient when it comes to certain characters and certain artists that I think are very likely not really going to spend time addressing them. I also want to point out that this is my own personal wish list. You can feel free to share off in the comments about what you would like to see, but if I leave something out here, don't take it as something personal against you. Again, this is just about my fandoms here, things that I personally hope to see, and let me know what you would like to see in the comments. Now, I do want to go ahead and address this elephant in the room. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the 2019 Joker movie starring Joaquin Phoenix. I think he did an amazing job. I like the movie overall. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. Amazing movie. But it does address mental illness. It is a dramatic movie more than a comic book movie. I mean, the filmmakers took it very seriously, and they're going after accolades and everything along with it, which is understandable. That's why I think there hasn't been like a merchandising push behind the movie. They want it to be taken serious. So if there are not any Funko Pops produced, I understand it. I really do understand that. But if they are produced, I will pick them up for sure. But again, if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to complain. The movie is really enough for me. It's a fantastic movie. I look forward to watching it again very soon. Next up here, the only ad icon that I really want to see is the King from Burger King. I don't know if it's a possibility. I would hope so. I mean, obviously they don't use the character anymore because some customers find him to be creepy, and I guess they have the research to show that he has turned away some customers in the past. But I still like the character. He like that creepy factor that he has. And I mean, come on, if we're getting McDonald's, we might as well get the Burger King as well. So I'm still hoping. I'm gonna hold out some hope for this. Maybe it will happen. Now, my favorite video game of all time is Bloodborne. This is something I've debated in my mind at times, but no, it always comes back to Bloodborne for me, standing out as my favorite game of all time. And it does have some fantastic characters with some really cool outfits and weapons. And I feel like there's just not enough out there related to Bloodborne. I mean, there are figures by different companies and statues, but they tend to mainly focus on the design for the hunter that was used in the promotional footage and everything. But there's so many great characters. I think they would be fantastic as pop figures. And I feel like Funko might be able to do this because they did do at least one pop based off of Dark Souls. They did the Red Knight. And I thought that was even odd that they didn't do more based off of Dark Souls. But, if they can work with From Software, the company that did, produce Bloodborne, then yeah, I would be so happy about that. And especially if there is a sequel announced for Bloodborne, then maybe that would be a reason for Funko to actually consider this. As far as particular characters, there are a lot of great characters, like I said, but as far as the bosses go, the Bloodstar Beast, I think, would be fantastic and very possible to do as a pop figure. When I look at what Funko did with like the creatures from Monster Hunter, I think they could definitely pull off the Bloodstar Beast and maybe even have him in a standard size box. That'd be fine with me because he's not a really large boss anyway. So yeah, I think that would be really awesome to see. Sticking with video games, I've said this previously and I gotta say it again. The Last of Us, I would love to see pops of at least the main characters, Joel and Ellie. That would be awesome. And there is the sequel on the way. For me personally, I don't care if they do pops based off of the original or the sequel. I would just like to see The Last of Us, represented in my collection. I actually do have some Titans vinyl figures of Joel and Ellie, but I would like some pop figures as well. And of course, along with them, I think they would have to have at least one clicker. The clickers have that really crazy out there design as well, with like the fungal head going on and everything. Like it's amazing design for the actual creatures in that game. So yeah, I hope that can happen this year, especially like I said, with the sequel on the way. Now, Days Gone was a pleasant surprise, actually one of the most surprising games for me in 2019. I really did enjoy this game despite its rough edges. I mean, I have a standard PlayStation 4 and the game doesn't run very well on PlayStation 4, to be honest. I mean, on a PS4 Pro, I'm sure it does better, but yeah, on a standard PlayStation, it doesn't run especially smooth. I really did like the characters. The characters grew on me for the most part. There were some that were kind of aggravating, but they were meant to be aggravating. The gameplay is somewhat repetitive, but I still enjoyed it, especially taking on the hordes of zombies. So there's a lot to like about Days Gone. I played the game all the way through, and I played it some after I, finished up the main storyline. So yeah, I'd like to see some pops based on at least some of the main characters from that game, and I think they have some little touches to their outfits and everything that would be some nice details. So especially like Boozer with his tattoos and everything. So yeah, these pops could be cool. Days Gone, again, is a really good game. If you haven't checked it out, I suggest you do so. Another pop I've been hoping to see for a long time now, I've said it a couple times in the past, is M. Bison from Street Fighter. I don't care if it's based off his original design or his Street Fighter V design, whatever it may be. I would just like to see M. Bison as a pop. When it comes to the Street Fighter line, I feel like the initial pops that they put out were somewhat plain Jane. I mean, they're true to the characters, but maybe kind of plain Jane, and maybe that's why there was not a lot of attention on those figures. Akuma is actually the only one I think I own, and that is my favorite one. I really like the look of Akuma. And there is a M. Bison action figure, and of course they did other characters within the pint-sized heroes. So yeah, if Funko is willing to do more with Street Fighter, I hope they do M. Bison. And then I would like to see them do some characters that just have more visual appeal to them, because again, like I said, I feel like that initial wave, it's kind of boring looking altogether. But here are some characters I think would really stand out in terms of their design. Sea Viper, Jury, Vega. I think Vega is a must. I think a lot of people would love to see Vega. Guile as well, especially with that haircut. That classic haircut for him would be awesome. Rolento is a character, maybe not a lot of people are a big fan of him, but I've always liked the look of that character. With the military design to him and the weapons and everything, I think he's pretty cool. Not the greatest gameplay in the Street Fighter series, but I still like the character. Also Zangief. I mean, come on, Zangief would look awesome as a pop as well. I know some people might also say Sagat, but I don't know. I think Sagat has the potential to look maybe kind of boring unless they do put a lot of details into his muscles and everything. Of course, he has the scar and the eye patch, but I don't think that's enough to make him stand out. But yeah, these particular characters, like I said here, visually interesting. Maybe we will see some more with Street Fighter if the original line sold enough. Now with Mortal Kombat, unlike a lot of other people, I want to see some more Mortal Kombat. It is surprising that they did another wave, or they have another wave on the way, and it's already repeating characters. This might have something to do more so with NetherRealm and Ed Boon though, because of course Ed Boon, he loves the legacy of Mortal Kombat, so maybe he wants to see these original designs for those certain characters, especially Scorpion. We know Scorpion is Ed Boon's favorite character, but yeah, definitely some love could be spread around for Mortal Kombat. And here are some characters I would love to see if they do maybe one or two more waves. It'd be nice to actually see 2 more waves of Mortal Kombat figures in the upcoming year. But I think Melina would be awesome. Kano, Sonya. I would prefer Sonya actually in one of her more recent outfits just because it has more detail to it. Johnny Cage. I'm really surprised they didn't do Johnny Cage up front, as popular as he is. But I do like what they've done so far with Mortal Kombat. I do want to be clear about that. I actually do have a couple of the pops, so I'm happy with what they've done thus far. I would just like to see more. I think it would be very cool if Melina actually got an unmasked Chase. I think that would make sense to have her as either a Chase or at least like a store variant, store exclusive. But yeah, I mean, Melina masked and unmasked, I think that would be pretty awesome. And then there are some other characters I'd like to see as well. I think Cyrax and Sector in a two-pack would make a lot of sense. And they could even do like a color variant on that 2-pack where they change the coloring, and maybe one of them could be Smoke and one could be Cyber Sub-Zero. Who knows? I mean, they could play around with that. I think Noob Saibot looks cool as well, especially his more recent design. Baraka is awesome as well. Of course, with the blades out would be cool to see. And Shao Kahn. And again, Shao Kahn, I would take him either his original design or his more recent design. I really have grown to like the more recent design a lot more, especially with the dragon details on him. But I think the classic might actually catch more attention. That classic Shao Kahn. Either way, I would just be happy to have him. Now, Coraline is a great movie. I really love that movie. I've watched it a couple of times now. Every time I watch it, I like it even more, and I feel like I noticed something I didn't previously. So that movie just continues to grow on me. And I think Funko did a fantastic job with the pops that they put out. And looking back to the movie, I feel like they covered the bases pretty well. At first I was like, why are there so few characters? But looking back at it, I kind of understand the decisions they made, except for YB. I was kind of surprised that they didn't do YB. I would like to see YB, and I'd like to see a variant of him, or maybe even a chase version of him with his mask on. I think that'd be pretty awesome, especially the design of that mask. I really like the way that looks. So yeah, and I like the character YB. I know that at least I think I heard that he wasn't in the original story, but I think he's a great character within the movie. So yeah, I would like to see him as a pop, and especially if they could do that head tilt with him, that would be cool to see. Now let's focus on horror here next, and I will go and say right away, with American Psycho Patrick Bateman, I feel like Funko has had the rights. I don't know if they still do, because they did do a mini of Patrick Bateman, and he actually was in the bloody raincoat, because I actually have that mini, and they didn't do a pop, which kind of surprises me. But yeah, hopefully they still have the rights, and that's something that they could consider doing. They obviously are expanding on which horror characters they have, because we did get the Creeper from Jeepers Creepers recently, and we also got a character from Hellraiser as well. So yeah, they're continuing to expand, and yeah, these are just a couple of my suggestions. So yeah, Patrick Bateman would be very cool in the raincoat with the axe, and maybe a bloody variant. I know that Jason Voorhees and Friday the 13th, that franchise, has been caught up in litigation. Hopefully everything gets ironed out completely this year, so we can finally possibly see a Jason X pop. That's one I've been wanting for a long time. Also here, Candyman, and there is a remake, I think, of Candyman on the way, or like a reboot on the way of that franchise. So Candyman could actually happen. And then the Tall Man from Phantasm, I think I actually saw a custom of that character recently, and it looked pretty impressive, and it just got me thinking about Phantasm again. I didn't really stick with the franchise, but I did enjoy the first movie. I saw it a couple of times. So yeah, Phantasm, the Tall Man, that would be very cool to see as well. Another horror character I'd like to see is Samara from The Ring. She's obviously a creepy character, and if Funko really wanted to get creative, they could actually design the pop coming out of a television screen. I know they could pull that off. I've seen them do another character. I think it was a character from Five Nights at Freddy's where it was with a TV screen. So yeah, it's something that they could pull off, and I think it'd be very visually interesting. And if something else happens with this franchise here in the near future, then that could be the reasoning for them to do that. But I don't even think that's necessary, just because The Ring is somewhat of a horror classic, maybe not completely, but it's well known enough to justify the pop figure in my mind. Now, of course, I have to address DC Comics. There's always more I would like to see with DC Comics, especially getting into some more obscure characters that haven't had the spotlight quite as much. So Etrigan the Demon, I definitely like that character, and more people are getting to know him because he has been in animation recently. Same thing goes with Deadman. That's another character I think is very cool and underrepresented. Ragdoll, I've said previously, I'd like to see a pop of him, and some people did point out to me that he actually has been on the Flash television series, which I stopped watching that after like the second season, so I wasn't aware of that, but I did check out the scenes, and I think they did the character justice. Yeah, I just like that character, especially within the Secret Six storylines. And then Swamp Thing has been done as a pop before. I just don't feel like he was done accurate enough, especially in terms of scale. They did him as a standard size pop, but when you normally see him in the comics, he's like massive. Even in animation, he's a very large character. So I know this is unlikely because they've already done the character before, but it would be awesome to see Swamp Thing, a more accurate Swamp Thing basically. And a couple of villains I would like to see from DC Comics do include Brainiac, and I know there's different versions of Brainiac, but just some version of him would be cool to see. A comic book accurate Doomsday I think would be greatly appreciated. Of course, they did the pop based off of Batman versus Superman, but that design I'm not so crazy about. So yeah, comic book accurate one would be nice to see. And I think Cyborg Superman would be awesome as well. I like the creepiness of that character, that it's a combination of course, robotics and Superman. So yeah, I think these are three villains I would have really loved to see from DC Comics. Now I gotta focus on Marvel as well, and I've said it previously, and I know some people agree with me that, with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, there are some characters that didn't get pops that probably should have pops, you know, including Penny Parker with Spider, and then also the female Doc Ock. I really liked her character, and I'm surprised that she didn't even get a mystery mini. You know, at least Penny Parker and Spider got a mystery mini, but for whatever reason, the female Doc Ock did not get a figure at all. I really like both of these characters, or you could say all three of these characters, basically. I think they would be very much appreciated, you know, for pop collectors. And some other random Marvel ones I would like to see, of course, Nightcrawler. I know a lot of people would love to see Nightcrawler. Now, there are potentially some X-Men pops on the way based off of the original movies, and Nightcrawler could be in the mix there. I think he actually is listed with those, so they might do one based off of the way that he looked in the movies, but I would really prefer a comic book Nightcrawler. I think Nightcrawler in his comic book outfit would look very awesome, and maybe even a variant of him holding a sword as well. Quicksilver based off of the movies would be nice to see. He's not listed right now, and I know he came later on in the movies, but I just like that character. I think he really stole the show. And then, of course, Falcon, Captain America. This could very much happen. I've seen customs of this in the past that were well done, but with the Falcon and Winter Soldier movie on the way, yeah, I think this could finally happen for Marvel collectors, you know, Funko collectors. Yeah, fingers crossed on that one. So that is it, everyone. Those are the figures that I'm hoping to see in 2020. If I get any of these, I'll be happy. If I get none of them, I'll be a little bit disappointed, but I think at least some of these, you know, will likely happen within the upcoming year. We'll just have to wait and see exactly what comes to fruition. I definitely want to hear from you all. Let me know, what figures are you hoping to see in the year 2020? I hope that this year was as good as 2019 was. I think Funko did a lot in 2019. They added on new franchises. They started to put out more music artists. They're just really spreading the love around. So, you know, sometimes when they don't put out certain characters, remember, it's not always in their control. They have to get the rights, you know, to be able to do things, and then it's based on sales as well. If wave 1 of a series doesn't sell, they're probably not going to do a wave 2 then, you know. So if you really want us to you know, see certain things, make sure you support what's already available. And yeah, like I said, we'll see what's going to happen in 2020, but again, make sure that you share your own thoughts down in the comments. I always appreciate that. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure that you drop a like on it, share it with others as well, and I will talk to you all again real soon.